The waltz is a smooth, progressive ballroom and folk dance, normally in triple time, performed primarily in closed position. Introduction and acceptance. There are several references to a sliding and gliding dance, a waltz, from the 16th century, including the representations of the printer H.S. Beheim. The French philosopher Montaigne wrote of a dance he saw in 1580 in Augsburg, where the dancers held each other so closely that the faces touched. Kunz wrote, "Now they are dancing the godless Weller spinner." Quote, "The vigorous peasant dancer, following an instinctive knowledge of the weight of fall, utilizes his surplus energy to press all his strength into the proper beat of the measure, thus intensifying his personal enjoyment in dancing." For time, was popular in Bohemia, Austria, and Bavaria, and spread from the countryside to the suburbs of the city. While the 18th century upper classes continued to dance the minuet, bored noblemen slipped away to the balls of the servants. In the 1771 German novel Geschichte des Fräuleins von Sternheim by Sophie von La Roche, a high-minded character complains about the newly introduced waltz among aristocrats thus: "But when he put his arm around her, pressed her to his breast, cavorted with her in the shameless, indecent whirling dance of the Germans, and engaged in a familiarity that broke all the bounds of good breeding, then my silent misery turned into burning rage." Describing life in Vienna, Don Curzio wrote, "The people were dancing mad. The ladies of Vienna are particularly celebrated for the grace and movements of waltzing, of which they never tire. There is a waltz in the second act finale of the opera Una Cosa Rara, written by Martin Y. Sola in 1786. Sola's waltz was marked and anticon moto, or at a walking pace with motion, but the flow of the dance was sped up in Vienna, leading to the Geschwindwalzer and the Galoppwalzer. In the transition from country to town, the hopping of the Landler, a dance known as Langhaus, became a sliding step, and gliding rotation replaced stamping rotation. In the 19th century, the word primarily indicated that the dance was a turning one would waltz in the polka to indicate rotating rather than going straight forward without turning. The Viennese custom is to slightly anticipate the second beat of each measure, making it sound as if the third is late and creating a certain buoyancy for time while causing the dancers to dance a two-step waltz. The metronome speed for a full bar varies between 60 and 70, with the waltzes of the first Strauss often played faster than those of his sons, shocking many when it was first introduced. The waltz became fashionable in Vienna around the 1780s, spreading to many other countries in the years to follow. It became fashionable in Britain during the Regency period, having been made respectable by the endorsement of Dorothea Levin, wife of the Russian ambassador. Diarist Thomas Raikes later recounted that no event ever produced so great a sensation in English society as the introduction of the waltz in 1813. In the same year, a sardonic tribute to the dance by Lord Byron was anonymously published. Influential dance master and author of instruction manuals, Thomas Wilson published a description of the correct method of waltzing in 1816. Almix, the most exclusive club in London, permitted the waltz, though the entry in the Oxford English Dictionary shows that it was considered riotous and indecent as late as 1825. The waltz, and especially its closed position, became the example for the creation of many other ballroom dances. Subsequently, new types of waltz have developed, including many folk and several ballroom dances. Details. 4 Waltz, half and half. In the 1910s, a form called the hesitation waltz was introduced by Vernon and Irene Castle. It incorporated hesitations and was danced to fast music. A hesitation is basically a halt on the standing foot during the full waltz measure, with the moving foot suspended in the air or slowly dragged. Similar figures are incorporated in the International Standard Waltz syllabus. The country western waltz is mostly progressive, moving counterclockwise around the dance floor. Both the posture and frame are relaxed, with posture bordering on a slouch. The exaggerated hand and arm gestures of some ballroom styles are not part of this style. Couples may frequently dance in the promenade position, depending on local preferences. Within country western waltz, there is the Spanish waltz and the more modern pursuit waltz. At one time it was considered ill-treatment for a man to make the woman walk backwards in some locations. In California, the waltz was banned by mission priests until after 1834 because of the closed dance position. Thereafter a Spanish waltz was danced. This Spanish waltz was a combination of dancing around the room in closed position, and a formation dance of two couples facing each other and performing a sequence of steps. The valse à trois temps was the earliest waltz step, and the rye waltz was favored as a couple dance. In contemporary ballroom dance, the fast versions of the waltz are called Viennese waltz as opposed to the slow waltz. In traditional Irish music, the waltz was taught by traveling dancing masters to those who could afford the lessons during the 19th century. By the end of that century, the dance spread to the middle and lower classes of Irish society, and traditional triple-tune tunes and songs were altered to fit the waltz rhythm. During the 20th century, the waltz found a distinctively Irish playing style in the hands of Saili musicians and dancers. International Standard Waltz has only closed figures, that is, the couple never breaks the embrace. The American-style waltz, part of the American smooth ballroom dance syllabus, in contrast to the International Standard Waltz, involves breaking contact almost entirely in some figures. For example, the syncopated side-by-side with spin includes a free spin for both partners. Open rolls are another good example of an open dance figure in which the follower alternates between the lead's left and right sides, with the lead's left or right arm providing the lead. Waltzes were the staple of many American musicals and films, including Waltz in Swing Time, sung by Fred Astaire. The Scandinavian waltz, performed as a part of Scandinavian folk dance, can be fast or slow, but the dances are always rotating. The Peruvian waltz is called and recognized in Peru as Vals Criollo. The Mexican waltz follows the same basic rhythmic pattern as the standard waltz, but the melodies reflect a strong Spanish influence. Mexico's Juventino Roses wrote Sobre las olas, or Over the Waves, commonly known in the U.S. as a circus song played during a trapeze show. The Cajun waltz is danced progressively around the floor, and is characterized by the subtle swaying of the hips and step very close to ordinary walking. It is danced entirely in the closed position. The Cuban waltz follows the pattern of the standard waltz throughout the song. The Venezuelan waltz provided a basis for distinctive regional musical composition. The contra waltz, included in most contra dance evenings, uses both open and closed positions, and incorporates moves from other dances such as swing, modern jive and salsa. Basically, the dancers progress around the dance floor with the waltz step, but with no constraints on what moves they can use. The valse musette, a form of waltz popular in France, started in the late 19th century. The cross-step waltz developed in France in the early 20th century and is popular in social waltz groups today. 4 are found in modern bal folk. Waltzes in even higher meters are played and danced. Today both the faster Viennese waltz, made forever popular by the Strauss family, and the slower American and international style waltzes are extremely popular with dancers of all ages.